So, what happened was on my phone, I often get these emails come in, and they say, "Oh, there's somebody looking for a particular person in a particular graveyard near you." So it's done regionally. Now, actually, a lot of the ones I wind up getting wind up being actually out of province, way back in sometimes in New Brunswick or Nova Scotia. So I can't always go and actually go to them. So I had one the other day last week that I got, and I'm just going to share it with you and sort of show what it looks like. So again, here's the site. So I had this request. It was for a James Summers. It's from 1859 to 1933. There's the username that was looking for it. They said he was buried at the Central Bedeck Baptist Church. So Bedeck is literally a couple minutes down the road from me. I thought this is it. It's a great one. It's a great way I can help somebody out. So I hopped in my car. As you'll see, I brought my best friend Hetty, my three-legged schnauzer, with me, and we took a little road trip. Hey, Hetty, over this way. Here's my driving companion today, Hetty. She's all buckled up and she's ready to go. So let's just put our location into my Google Maps and Android Auto. Bedeck Cemetery.
Alright, I'm setting your destination to Lower Bedeck Cemetery in Bedeck.
Okay.
Head west on Prince Edward Island 1 alternate north toward Arsenault Road.
So that's the way I'm going. There's the Bedeck, old Bedeck hardware store. Now it's the Historical Museum. Here we are. Hetty's anxious. Hey, you're looking too. So we're looking for 1939, and I also look for family names. So I'm around the 1930s here, so okay, I've never really been in this graveyard before, even though it's only a few minutes from home. So I'm I'm not as familiar. So right now I know it's in the older section. I can't tell. There's sort of a newer section as well. So I'm looking for Summers. See, there's a grave that has an S there. Let's see if that's Summers on the other side, perchance. I'm assuming it's not. Yeah, it's Sheeran, which is a common name here in this community. Now, that is the sad thing. A lot of these older tombstones, they get so weather beaten. It's hard to see. Still in the section, mostly Shearman's, still here. I love these old stones, though. That it's unfortunate that they aren't always kept up. They're not the easiest, and to keep them up, it takes a lot of care that it's just not there. And when people's families are gone and left, sometimes it's not as important. So let's look around. Yeah, like some of them you can't even read. I'm hoping that this one's not going to be a loss, that it's going to be one that I can read. So, me and Hetty are done. We didn't have much luck. It was not our day. They weren't there. I could not find that stone that they're looking for James Summers. I looked at every stone that's here. The ones that are unreadable, even those I looked at as close as I can to see if I saw any that had a name that looked like it could be Summers, or if I couldn't make out the name, the dates. There was usually something you could at least make out. So there wasn't anything there specifically that I was able to find. Did a couple other little things. I looked on the FindAGrave site. There's another cemetery in the community just to see if there's anybody with the last name Summers that they have located there. I could not find on that one. There is a... so what I'm going to do is two things. I'm going to probably head home now and contact the person who made the request just to confirm that this is the cemetery. Do they have the definitive proof? Do they have a death certificate that lists this as a burial site? I'm also going to contact a friend of mine who is involved at the United Baptist Church here to see if he can put me in contact with the person who might have the records for here, so I can go and I can look and I can find it. So yeah, the listing on FindAGrave is quite intensive for this. Just looking at the numbers and my estimated number of tombstones I looked at today, I would say they have a pretty full record, especially when it comes to the older graves. But I'm going to go do a little more research, like I said, and I'll probably get back to this video at some point, and we'll be able to complete this task and request But for now, headed home. Me and my dog. Okay, so I did go home after this, and I did sort of start to look. I contacted my friend who was a former elder at the Baptist church there in Bedeck, and to get in contact with the person at the church who oversees the cemetery, to see if they would have the record, so I could find out if I had missed a grave. In the meantime, I posted this video up on my Twitter just because I found it kind of interesting later that day, about Hetty's reaction. And yes, you'll notice in this video I did make the error in saying 1939. It is 1933, and I do realize that, and I don't know why when I went out that morning I had 1939 in my head. I've been looking at the record on my phone, and I knew it was 1933, but I just got that year in my head. So my strategy when I'm looking in graveyards is I look around and I try to find, first of all, people with, I want to make sure I'm looking in the same era. So James Summers was buried and died in 1939. So I'm looking for graves that would be around that era. Yes, Hetty. Hetty. And Hetty, here's another dog in the neighborhood. So after I tweeted out that video, it was probably just later in the next day, which would be Sunday. I got a message from a person that said, "Well, actually, I know right who you're looking for. In fact, I was looking at that just the other day." So I got contacted by a person who oversees another cemetery in Bedeck, and I'm just gonna show you just to give you an idea. Now, so if I look over here, this is the cemetery that I had visited at the United Baptist Church Cemetery, and this is actually the cemetery where I wound up going to find the burial for James Summers. It's about a 4-minute ride. It's 3.6 kilometers, it says. The way I come into town, I would come off here and I come down this road. So I wasn't that far off that day, but I was going by the information I had. Remember at the beginning of the video I sort of said that the information in FindAGrave is only as good as the people providing it. The person that was looking for the grave, I'm assuming they're going by a record of a burial. What I was able to find from my own research, I was able to find a record in a newspaper from December actually of 1933 for the burial, and I'm sure that's what they were looking at. And in that record, it wasn't very clear. But I didn't really get a video per se of that encounter, but I did get a couple things. So here is the entrance to that graveyard. As you notice, there's it's a United Empire Loyalist burial ground as well. In fact, Bedeck, the community of Bedeck, Prince Edward Island, was founded by United Empire Loyalists. This particular graveyard was the graveyard for the Methodist Church. There was the Baptist church. The Baptist church, where the first cemetery I looked at, when it was founded, actually the first minister there was Charles Tupper, the father of Charles Tupper, who would one day be a prime minister of Canada. And that was the Baptist church. There was also this Methodist church, and there was a Church of Scotland, a Presbyterian church, which would be somewhere sort of in between. If you want to really call it a downtown, it's kind of in the downtown area of Bedeck, which isn't really much of a downtown. It now houses a museum, used to have a hardware store, became a community museum, and there was a little village store as well. There's one or two small businesses there, but it would have been probably a booming little place at the time. So anyways, I was able to, like I said, go there, and I was able to do a little more research. I didn't get a video. I didn't really even get a picture of the gravestone. The reason is there wasn't. The reason that the person actually knew where where James was buried is they were preparing for a funeral that's going to be coming up later this month. Just with COVID, things have pushed some funerals behind for when they can do things with family. So there was actually a plot right next to this, which was going to be occupied, or well, I don't want to say right next to it, just right around it. And so the person was really generous though. They got me out the map, and I'm just going to show it briefly here. So it's right here. You'll see just where that tape is. That is where James Summers and his wife are buried. His wife is Jane. So there's no tombstone. I did actually, from talking to the person who was in charge, Randall, he was really helpful. He explained he actually had been in contact with some other relatives of James's last year, and they were working on hopefully getting a stone erected there, but that was all before COVID happened, and it sort of never moved forward. He's still been in contact, so hopefully that is going to get done. So there will be that permanent place to memorialize James and where he was buried. Anyways, that's today's video. Thank you for sticking around and watching. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all the comments I get, and you know, keep looking for your ancestors, keep safe, keep healthy, and see you next time.